Hey everyone, this is Neil Napier here and welcome to this session today where I'll be talking about Kyvio, of course, but more specifically we'll be discussing email marketing today. Can you just let me know very quickly if you can hear me? Just give me a very quick one that you can hear me. All right, perfect. Actually, Giselle just said that. Giselle, I appreciate that very much. Paul, good to have you on the call as well. We have a few more people pouring in. I think I need to start sending reminders because the numbers have shrunk, but that's just because this is a really long workshop series. So yeah, but like I said, everything is really detailed. Everything is as planned a walkthrough as it can be. And if you need any help, you can just let me know. All right, Giselle said she did get a reminder an hour ago. That's good. Maybe I need to start incentivizing people. Carrot and stick. Okay, now in this session today, I want to talk to you about email marketing. Before I go to that, I want to give you a little bit of disclaimer. I had planned everything in such a way so that by the time we got to this, we would have the new user interface in place. Unfortunately, things haven't really moved that fast because my goal was that with our development efforts, we'll be able to do the new user interface as soon as possible. But because, and this is something that Stephen posted a video about in the group, because you've had a development shortfall, we're a little bit behind schedule, for which I do apologize. But still, I want to show you the email marketing module of Kyvio, which will be once we have the new layouts in, more like smart mailer. But what I want to point out before I start with the demonstration here is that we use this literally every single day, even more than I use funnels. So of course I use funnels to build, smart funnels to build landing pages. I use membership part of the software about, let's say, twice a month to sell a course. But email marketing is something we absolutely use every day. Every single email that you get, let's say a marketing email, not like, hey, your account has been created kind of email. Every single marketing email that you get is from this platform. So everything that I'll show you today is something that we do all the time. And as you can see, right in the beginning, we have a dashboard which shows you how many lists you have, how many subscribers you have, how many broadcasts you've sent. All of this will change with the new UI, but you will still have a lot of the same information. So you can see how many new visitors we're getting on our new subscribers, rather, we're getting on our lists, how many people have visited our forms, how many of them have opted in. So you get all this information here on this page. Then you also get some information on how many broadcasts are being sent. So you can see broadcast send, broadcast open, and broadcast unsubscribes, which hopefully is a very, very tiny number compared to all of these. So we send somewhere between, let's say, 8,000 broadcasts to today, it's a special day, about 33,000 broadcasts. Now, that's not 33,000 times. That's just basically means that, one person has been mailed 33,000 times or 33,000 people have been mailed one time and so on and so forth. In this case, I can tell you we've mailed twice to some people, which is why this number is relatively high. Then you also see a list of recent subscribers on your list. Personally, I think we could show a little bit of different information here. So as you move forward, we'll improve what the dashboard looks like. One of the key things that I want to see in future is also, how should I put this? Dollar generated per lead, right? So once the smart products module is ready, I hope that most of you will be selling everything from within Kyvio. And once you start doing that, we can start tracking results. We can start tracking how much every email is making you. We can start tracking how much every lead is worth to you today, in the last 30 days, in the last 90 days, and so on. What's the lifetime value of a lead? So this is something that we are hopefully growing towards in time. And this is where I see the Kyvio smart mailer to change majorly. So allowing you to basically also track analytics from within your email marketing dashboard. That's at least my goal moving forward. Hey, Annette. Because if you do all of that, basically you will be able to also mail based on how much money someone has spent with you, say, in the last 30 days, right? So right now I do a lot of this manually, but what I would like to do is to track this somewhat automatically so that I'm able to essentially email someone who perhaps hasn't spent a lot of money with me in the last 30 days. Because of course, if someone spent, let's say, $1,000 with you in the last 30 days, you don't want to keep emailing them the same thing. You want to maybe send them more value emails. So that's something that I would like to see in the platform in the future, which again, I've discussed with Stephen. We'll definitely work towards it, especially once the smart products module is ready. But let's go ahead and let me show you all these different menu items. The very first thing you will see if you're working on a new account is this thing here called SMTP setup. So on the left, there's a top menu which says something along the lines of setup here. And what you have to then do is you have to hook in your SMTP, you have to put in your contact details, and you have to basically fill all these one-time things, which are important because this is how you send an email. Now with the Smart Membership module, we allow you to send what we call transaction emails to your customers for free. So if you sell something, if you give away something for free, congratulations. We thank you or we give you a gift by saying that we'll send an email on your behalf for no charge. It's completely fine. But when it comes to marketing emails, that is on you. And let me explain why that is. With marketing emails, there's a lot of different things that need to be taken into account. For example, let's say if we have a user base of 1,000 different users that are all using our server to actually send the email. So they're all using our SMTP. There are some complications with that. One user might be much better than the other, right? One user might be sending great emails, the other user might be sending spam. One user might have a very healthy relationship with the list and he makes a lot of money, the other user doesn't make a lot of money. So the problem really is that to pool all these users into one big group and allowing them to basically just use one kind of SMTP or even multiple SMTPs, it's bad. So in a way, we allow you to use your own so that you can basically keep everything clean. You can pay as much as you want to. You can get whatever kind of service that you want to. It's a bit like the insurance model, I guess, the health insurance model in the US. You pick your doctor, right? You pick the SMTP that you want. We don't have any say in that. We do make recommendations, but at the end of the day, it's entirely up to you. What's important though for you are a few specific fields in an email. Let me open up my Gmail account and I can show you inside of that actually. Okay, so all these emails that will open up now, and I'm going to show you promotion ones because a lot of promotional emails end up there. So all these emails that you see here, there are a few important things. One of them is the name. So the name that you mail with is very important. I usually just mail with Neil Napier. I could also mail with Neil Napier and brackets Kyvio, but you know, it's really entirely up to you. What will your customers recognize you with? If you really only have one product or if you build your branding around one thing, then it's okay to kind of mention that in brackets. So you could say Neil Napier, brackets Kyvio, right? Or whatever your core business is about, you could put that in. Then the next thing is your email address. Now, default email address is something that you need to set up and clean properly over time. Let me explain. For starters, you should not use free email addresses such as Gmail or yahoo.com. They don't inbox. And I'm not talking about cold emailing here. I'm talking about actual broadcasts. So, you know, people who have given you their permission to mail, basically. So I always suggest using a company email. It's also a good thing because you can build reputation over time. Now, there are a few things to remember with all of this, by the way. It's a little bit complicated. So I'll just say that at the very basic level, just create your name at yourdomainname.com email address. At a very basic level, don't worry about anything else. But if you want to get a little bit technical, if you want to do this in a bit more depth, what you can actually do in that case is you can buy what is known as an age domain, right? So let me Google that for you so I can explain as well what that means. So age domains are domains that have been around for 5, 10, 12 years, something like that, right? They're really relevant domains that will perhaps inbox better. Why? Because they have a good reputation. They are not caught in any spam traps. They are not blacklisted anywhere. Because it is possible to, even if you have like a regular domain, even we might get blacklisted sometime. And it's never permanent. I mean, you always have to go and make your case. You have to say, oh, we were blacklisted for the wrong reasons. You can whitelist us and here's why. So you can kind of make your case to them and they whitelist you again. But this setup essentially allows you to set up your own kind of domain with your sending email address. Whoops. And then you just click on test SMTP connection to make sure emails are going fine. Headers are something that are way too advanced even for me to start explaining. But it just helps in better tracking your emails. Really not necessary for the average user. Even for me, I wouldn't want to use it. Your contact address is important, which is required by CAN-SPAM Act law. If you don't put your contact address at the bottom of your emails, then if you get reported, you will get fined heavily. So please make sure your contact address is included right over here in the setup. You can also blacklist email addresses. So for example, we have some people who are just, really difficult audience, difficult customers. So what we do is we put them in a blacklist email address, and this means that we will not send them any email from our platform, from my account. We can also blacklist domains, so we can say that anyone who has set up this email from this domain doesn't get emailed. We can blacklist IP addresses. We can also allow unsubscribers to resubscribe to the same list. There's no reason why you wouldn't tick on it, unless maybe if it was a paid product and it was a one-time only purchase which someone couldn't purchase again. So that's one option. Then you can also block role-based email addresses from subscription, which means if they use emails like abuse, admin at, support at, compliance at, all of that, you can block them too, because let's face it, they never really get checked. No one ever goes to check abuse at some specific email.com. So yeah. And if an email gets rejected, you can direct them to a custom domain as well of your choice. And these are all kind of, let's say, how should I put this in a proper way? These are all opportunities to get more. If an email gets rejected, instead of just sending them to a default page, I should really be sending them to a sales page still, right? Because I shouldn't waste any traffic that I'm getting. I shouldn't waste any traffic that I'm generating. So that's the simple SMTP setup page. There's quite a bit of knowledge-based articles that talk about setting up an SMTP, so please do go through that. I always try and have more than one SMTP, so I have 1, 2 here, this one isn't available, 3 here. So I've got 3 SMTPs, 2 of them are backup. I mostly use one for like 80% of my emails, and if something goes wrong, or just to keep things more interesting, I switch my SMTP once in a while. What you can do is this as well. Let's say there's one service which I really want to use one time, but it's super expensive. Let me show you. It's this one, smtp.com. I think if I go to pricing, sending, I think I showed you, right? Like I sent 30,000 emails just today. Sending 50,000 emails is $70 per month, right? Actually, let me look for a bigger number, because I send close to 700,000 emails a month. So 1 million emails, for example, almost is $900 a month. So that is really, really expensive. But that might also give an amazing ROI. And remember, I don't have to mail everyone with the same SMTP. I can send 2 separate emails. I can just switch. So I can send one email to, let's say, my best leads, and then I can switch and, use the worst SMTP for the other leads. It just really depends on how you want to structure this. That's up to you. Now, let's go ahead and look at, first of all, the list manager. So the list manager is where you create all your lists. This is where, if you want to import people, if you want to get people to subscribe, this is where you create a list. So let's go ahead and do that. In this case, I'm going to put a list name. Let's say, I always use prefixes because it really helps me to differentiate who's who. So let's say right now we have a launch going on. I'm just going to put CU flow traffic main. So customer of flow traffic that bought the main offer, right? From name is this, from email address is this. I can put description. So customer who bought flow traffic main offer. Right. Email signature, up to you. I generally don't use it. Enable double opt-in, up to you. I generally don't use it. Send me notification when someone subscribes to this email list. I don't really care about this. But yeah, if you want to be hassled every time someone signs up to your list, you can use that. So I can either just save this now or I can add new fields as well. So let's say if I wanted to also collect their date of birth, I could do that. I could make it obligatory as well if I wanted to, right? So this is fine. Let's just go ahead and click save. Now the list has been saved. Now there are a few ways to add people to this, but I'll come to that. Actually, let's just do that now and then I can go to sequences. So if I click here on view subscribers, I'll see that this list has no subscribers. Even though I have over 28,000 subscribers, this list has none. So what I can do is I can either add a subscriber, which is kind of like one by one, right? So I can choose, okay, let's add Neil Napier to, and this is the address, and let's add him to there. See flow traffic main there. And you can see it brought up this custom field as well now. So if you wanted to put that custom field in, you could. Remember, it's not obligatory though. So I'll just go ahead and save and continue to add, or just save, and it will save and kind of exit out of that sub menu there. So you can see now I'm in this list. Okay, then what I'll do is I'll go and import subscribers. So import subscribers allows me to bulk import people into my list. So I can either do it manually. I can put the name, comma, I can put their email address. Again, I have date of birth as well, so I can just put comma date of birth, or I can upload a CSV. Now, you can't just upload any CSV. It needs to have a specific format, the format of which you can download this file and you can see what that looks like. Once you're happy with it, just click on I give my word that my list is permission-based and in accordance with Kyvio anti-spam policy. Then you click on import preview, and if you had a file, it would actually do an import preview, and then we can click on a button and import all the leads in. Straightforward. Same way, we can export subscribers as well. So if I just click on that, which I have, you'll see that it gives me an option rather, to pick the list that I want to export subscribers from as well, or at least it should. I can even narrow down my search here. So I can say, okay, only show me, maybe the list is too big. I have to check. But let's say I say, okay, only show me these people. Okay, it brings all of this list. And it also tells me, like, let's say, you know, Alan, for example, what other lists Alan is on, what other products Alan has purchased. Seems like a lot, by the way. I could look at Elmer, for example, and see what other products Elmer has purchased. So just by looking at that, I also get some ideas of what other products these people are purchasing. In future, one of the key things I would like to see here as well is the ability to just select one list, especially with the products, one product, and see what other products that person has purchased. And then if I click on each one, let's click on Richard, for example, I can see what list he is subscribed to and how did he sign up, how was he added to the list. If I'm importing a list, I can click on Import Monitor and I can see what leads are being imported. So you can see there. All right, great. So those are, if I go back to List Manager, that is basically lead management within this platform. Then what I can also do is I can add sequences. So sequences are basically autoresponder series that go out to someone based on certain criteria. So this is the list, let's say, that I want to send the sequence to. I could say welcome email to, or rather just let's say welcome Kyvio, welcome flow traffic. Okay, I'll click on submit and the sequence name gets saved, but we still need to add emails to it. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll add new email. I'll say, okay, let's trigger let's say 0 minutes after subscription, right? So it happens as soon as they subscribe, or let's say 1 minute after they subscribe. I can select the preset email from templates. I'll show you that later, or I can fill in a new email here. Let me just mute myself and do that. There, something like that. Once this email is set, and we automatically add the unsubscribe buttons and so on, so you don't need to worry about that. Once it's set, let's click on save. And it's done. You can create another one, which could be, for example, a day later or so on. Then you can also look at report and you can look at statistics. Let me actually go back into sequences and I can find one of them which is being triggered. I know. And we can look at maybe the report. I'm not sure if you're using any sequences here, by the way, but let me just think about that. Let's see if I can show you one of these. Okay. So there, we get a report that it's been sent to 106 people. It's been opened 6 times, unopened 100 times, and it's been clicked 3 times. So we get all those details over here. All right. Great. You can also view this email if you want to later on. You can test it as well if you want to, or you can delete it, and you can even check spam score here. Okay. All right. Let's close this. So let's go back to sequences. This is how easy it is to create them. It really doesn't take too many steps, and I would always recommend having them as much as possible. For example, for all the new Kyvio users that are coming in, right now we have sequences that go as long as, I think we just wrote the last email that would extend it to 80 days. So it's a really long sequence. I would like it to be even longer so that they are onboarded fully without me having to send trainings all the time, or create trainings all the time rather. So that's something that is possible with Kyvio. Let me see if you have any questions, and I'll go back to showing some more features. Okay, no questions. All right. If you have any, please do send them through and I'll come to them as soon as possible. Then let's talk about broadcast. Now this is something that we end up using about, I would say, 90% of the time. I would actually go as far as saying that broadcasts are a crutch, right? In that they are painful. They are something that you have to do almost every day. I mean, you kind of have to sit down and send the broadcast. So it's a really painful process, I would argue. Now, in this case, I'm going to show you how to add a new broadcast. The editor is very similar to the segments, but there are a few key differences, I would say. The very first thing is that you can select which list you want to mail to. So I can just keep on adding these lists over here. I can delete them by clicking on them here as well. There. Okay. Then I can also choose which lists I want to exclude. Like that. I can do that as well. Then I can also choose recipient segments. Like I only want to mail to this segment, and you can see the number suddenly went down. So it went down from 1424 to 567 because I'm only mailing, let's say, all the active people. I'm not mailing just everyone. I'm only mailing people that have been opening my emails in the last 60 days, for example. Then again, I can choose an email from templates, or I can go ahead and create a new one. So creating a new email is straightforward as well. Enter your subject line, enter your text, and plain text is automatically populated. Let's assume this is our email for now, or let's go find another one. This looks really hypey, but let's copy it anyway. Okay, there. And you can see the plain text email got automatically populated with all the links as well. I'm just going to keep it as is. I'm not going to send it, of course. Then there are these things on the right that you need to pay attention to. Let me start from the bottom. You can save this as draft. You can save and prepare to send. You can preview and test, which is what I always recommend doing. So I use this app, Mail Tester, right? So I'm going to say, okay, let's send an email to this address. So it will send an email there, and I'll go back and then I'll check my score. Okay. What this does is it tells me if the email is spammy, maybe there's a configuration issue somewhere, maybe there's a text issue somewhere, if I need to change some text inside the email, stuff like that. It's really handy to know if you are not fully focused on the emails all the time. So somehow this email is all right, even though I do think that it's a little bit spammy in my opinion. I wouldn't use too many words like that, but hey, it's okay. I guess it didn't find too much to complain about, and that's perfectly fine. And you can also view, by the way, how it will look on mobile. So this is what it will look on mobile, and on tablets like this, on desktop like this. There. So it's a good application. It's free. Of course, it only works, one by one, which is the painful part. Oh, cool. They actually have an API. It's quite interesting. All right. Okay. Anyway, so if I go back to this, you can send broadcasts like that. You can also schedule them. We cover a lot of different time zones. So if you don't know which time zone your customer is in, just pick your own. So for example, if I was picking my own, I would choose Helsinki because I'm in Finland. You can schedule date as well. So let's say I could do this tomorrow and at this time, let's go again. There, that's where I change the time. Tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. my time, we'll send out this email. So I can do that as well. But of course, I don't want to send this email, so I'm just going to delete everything. But is that clear so far? Let me know if you have questions. I'll just stop and take some questions. Oh yeah, great question, Giselle. Yes, I skipped that. I apologize. So Giselle's asking what's the difference between sequence and automation. So yeah, let me go back to that in a minute. So all your broadcasts are here, by the way. All of them along with the open rates and the click-through rates. Now we always show unique open and click-through rate. Okay? We don't show total open rate, total click-through rate. We show unique, how many people open, how many people click through. Okay? If you want to, you can also resend existing broadcasts. So let's say if there was a previous broadcast that you send, it could be this one. I could say if recipients have not opened it, then resend with a new subject line. It's kind of like a lazy way of sending out an email, which does work. And if you have a broadcast going out like this one, I could pause it as well. Maybe I made a mistake in the email. Maybe I don't want to send this email anymore. I could just pause it if I wanted to. Then let's go back to, I think it was under List Manager. Yeah. In the List Manager, we have automations. Now, this is where it gets really, really exciting. Let's say I'll call this one Neil Demo. What I can do is I can set up events and actions. So let's say I can set an event. When a subscriber gets added to this list, then delete them from all the other lists. And let me explain why this is important. Let's say you're running a promotion to your entire list and you're running them through an autoresponder sequence. Right? You've set up a 30-day autoresponder sequence. You've just added all your subscribe leads into it, and you're running a promotion to them. Perfect. You run an email on day 1, then day 3, and then someone buys. And now you have to go back in and stop them from receiving any further emails because they've just bought. Why would you harass them for the next 26 days? Right? So the way to overcome that is just say, okay, when they sign up to this list, when the subscriber gets added, let's delete them from all the other lists, or let's say some specific lists. So that way they don't get any more emails after that. All right? So it's very simple automation, very straightforward, but really, really effective, because what it allows you to do basically, and you can have, I think you can have multiple automations as well. What it allows you to do is essentially segment your audience, segment your customers better. Make sure that you don't piss them off if they have already bought something. All right? So this is a very cool feature. Automations, I mean, maybe it's not the best word I would argue, but automation essentially allows you to automate your segmentation. You know, move people around dynamically based on their behavior. That's what that's all about. Now, let's go back to List Manager. I think I showed you everything here. Oh yeah, we also have List Cleanup tool, which just use with caution. Please don't just use this on your main list. Just be careful, because here's what you can do. You can move, delete, or export to CSV people who, let's say if I choose to move people who have not opened or clicked my email since, let's say 1st of January, this time, from, let's say, all the lists, right? One by one, I add all the lists. So I can move them to another list. Now, this is a good thing because let's say, okay, let me give a real example here. I have a huge list, as you know, but not every customer is responsive. Most of them are not actually. So what I could do is I could hire a copywriter and I could say, okay, I want you to write a 30-day email sequence to re-engage people that have not opened or clicked my email for the last 60 days. And he or she will write an email sequence for me, and then I will put it into a new list. And then I will say, okay, all the people that have not opened or clicked my email for the last 60 days, let's add them to a new list. So rather move them to a new list. So here's what will happen. My original list will be cleaner. They'll be smaller, of course, but they'll be cleaner. Then my new list, which I moved everyone to, will be much bigger. It'll be a fatter list, most likely, right? Or depending on your engagement, it'll be a smaller list. That truly depends. But this is good because instead of, like a lot of people say, you should just delete people who are not opening your emails. I say, why? I mean, if you're spending $1, $2 generating a new lead, why just get rid of them? Let them get rid of you. That's what I say. So instead of course, harassing them with promotion emails, what I can do is I can move them to a list where maybe I only send value emails, or maybe instead of just promoting random offers, I send them a very specific offer, which could last over 30 days. So this is something you can do with this. Very, very powerful. But like I said, please do not use delete, because if you do that, if you click on this, they'll be really deleted forever. You don't want to do that. You can also export them to CSV. So if I'm okay with these, let's say I'll go and export to CSV, and pretty soon I think it will download a CSV on my desktop. I can open it, I can look at the leads, and I can just contact them manually or anything else. That's entirely up to me. All right. Is this feature useful, do you think? I'm still waiting. I don't know where my list is. Oh, there we go. Are you sure you want to export 991 leads? That's a lot. All right, let's do it. But what do you think? Do you think this is a strong feature? Because I think to me, really, I mean, just looking at this right now, honestly, I think I need to go back and do this. I need to get a copywriter to write like a 14-day email sequence selling something, but not, you know, hard selling it, more like kind of soft selling it, more like engaging them back into my list. And when they're engaged, what I can do is I can say, okay, let's move them back again. Let's move the people that have, again, move them to a different list. The people that have not opened or clicked on the sequence I just ran, to them specifically, let's move them to another list. That way I save maybe 100, 200, maybe even 1,000 subscribers which is really good, really, really good. So that's something you should do, you should consider doing in your business as well. All right? Yeah. Good. Love the idea of moving them to another list. Perfect. So you can do that, and let me go ahead and now show you opt-in forms. So eventually, again, I mean, I have ideas to do a lot of things within this platform still. Eventually, I would like these opt-in forms to have a similar editor as we have in Smart Funnels, right? Because you can already kind of create forms in there. It'd be nice if you kind of had them here as well. That's my goal anyway. I'm negotiating with Steven, trying to get him to do this as well and that as well. A lot of different things. So let me add a new form and show you how that works. I will call this CU flow traffic. I'll stick with that. And let's say I'll call this, okay, let's target CU flow traffic buyers. Main. Okay, this one. I can redirect them to any thank you page within Kyvio. If they're subscribed already, I can redirect them to another page. This is, by the way, again, this is really, really powerful. If they are already subscribed, don't just send them to a random page that says, you already subscribed, go check your email. No, send them to a sales page. Say, hey, you already subscribed to this list. And also, we told our customers about this offer, but in case you missed it, here's a video you can watch. Sell them something. Or educate them, whatever it is you want to do, that's up to you. You also have a thank you page, which is again something you should always use. So when someone does sign up, you should send them to a thank you page where you tell them that, okay, we have received your email. We'll be in touch with you in the next 5 minutes. Please check your email, and we'll give you your content via that. You can just say that. And then just click on next, and you've got a few different design options here that you can choose. Now, they're okay, they're optimal, but they're still not the best, in my opinion. So I'm going to pick one of these. Let's say I pick this one, right? I've got this. I can put a video over here. And again, remember, this is the pop-up opt-in form. Let me just pause this. I can customize this. So I can click here. I can change the YouTube video link. I could delete that if I wanted to as well. Let's delete that right now. Okay, it's done. All these different fields are over here, right? Let's say if I'm done with this, I'll go back. You can see the video is gone. Now, personally, if I'm using opt-in forms over here, I'm really only using them for the HTML option. I'm not using them for the design option, right? So if I go to, yeah, this is done. If I click on view, you'll see it gives me two options. Let's click on live preview as well. Live preview just takes me to what is a page basically, instead of like more of a smaller opt-in box. So it gives me the HTML and design, and then it gives me the HTML option. Personally, for me, I much prefer to use the HTML option. Why? Because the actual opt-in forms that I can create inside of the Smart Funnels are so much better. I can customize them to any depth. They are so much better. That's the first thing. The second thing is that even if you're using some kind of WordPress landing page, you can find a lot of plugins out there that will give you beautiful designs for forms, which we just don't have at the moment because, design's not our core focus. It should be, and it will be, but right now it's not. So for them, all you still need is this one, and you can just then overlay it in the design that you have in your plugin, for example. Or like I said, I only use it with Kyvio. But for this one, I mean, it's okay, but you can enhance it, you can improve it if you know HTML. I don't know enough, I know a little bit, but I wouldn't want to go in and meddle with this. So you just copy this over into, let's say, into a page that you're building. So I'll just copy this. Okay, and I'll go to Smart Funnels. And I can just create a page here, and I can add, let's see, this is an opt-in page. So this one, right now, it is custom integrated. So I'm going to click on parse raw HTML form, put the code over here that I had copied. Oh, I hope it shows up. I thought I had copied it. Oh yeah, there we go. Then click on process form code. It grabs both the fields. And let's close this. I can delete this one because I don't want it. But it does bring up your full name, email address, and remember, date of birth as well. And I can change what this looks like, of course. I can put this so people feel like it's mandatory. Up to me, right? So required, let's just do that as well. So that's it. That's all I need to do with this. Let me just close this so I don't accidentally save this. All right. So that's all I need to do in this case. Let's go back to email marketing. So we've looked at broadcast, we've looked at sequences, we looked at list manager. You've also got the whole subscriber list over here. So these are all my subscribers right now. And I can, like I said, look at one list at a time, and I could just look for a specific subscriber. Like I could say, for example, Tim, go, and it brings up all the Tim email addresses or names with Tim in it. Okay, let's go back to sequences. Okay, these are all the sequences that are saved. As I showed you earlier, you can go into each one and you can look at the reports and you can see how many opens, clicks, and so on those sequences are getting. Then you also have this email template feature, which is where you can save an email. Now, personally, as you can see, I've never really used it, but I think last time I tried was more than a year ago. But what I can do is I can just add a new email here. Let's say, okay, let's put it like this. Let's say you are in the habit of creating a lot of different funnels in your business, a lot of different opt-in pages, thank you pages. Of course, every opt-in page you create, you need to send an automated sequence as well. And all automated sequences have the same first email or similar first email, like, hey, this is Neil Napier, thank you so much for signing up. Here's your free gift, which is the gift, of course, that they asked for. And, here's a few things that you didn't know about me, sort of thing. And that's always the same thing, right? So you can save an email here and you can reuse it later over and over again. Now, that's entirely up to you. But personally, I haven't found enough use for this yet. Your business scenario, your business case might be a little bit different, and that's completely okay. All right. So use the email templates if you're going to repeat a lot of emails in your business. I personally don't. All right. Cool. Let me go ahead and see some of the questions. Can we tag a subscriber? I'm not sure if you're covering this. Giselle, I'm trying to think, how do you mean tag? Like in what sense? Can you give me an example here? Grimaldo is asking, can we make the opt-in forms as pop-ups in a website? So Grimaldo, if you're using smart funnels, yes, you can already. I'll show you that in a second. Let's just go in here. So you can use conversion tools, pop-ups, enable pop-ups, and there's a pop-up over here. Let's edit that. So this is a pop-up that will show up, right? You can already use the form here. So I can just go to this and I can say, okay, custom integration, parse row HTML form, put the form code in here, process form code there. So I can do that, definitely. Now, if you mean another website, it really depends on whether or not you can have pop-ups on that website. So that website needs to have its own mechanism for pop-up. We only allow you basically with the opt-in forms to design it or just have the base HTML code for it. How you use it is entirely up to you there. All right. So I need to create an HTML block on my sales page and add this code in order for my whole email sequence to work. Paul, not really. I mean, email sequence, I think I know you had some trouble with that yesterday, and I hope support can get back to you soon. But the email sequence thing basically works as long as someone gets added to your list. It's not more effort than that. It's really not any more effort than that. Okay? But the form thing that you're talking about, it's just to capture leads. It's just another way to capture leads. You can manually add the leads. You can capture them using these forms. There are many, many different ways of doing it. Is that clear? All right. Giselle, okay, let's look at your question. If I send a campaign and ask people to do something, they click on a link and tag is added to their account. No, that is not possible at the moment. That is not possible at the moment. Eventually, I would like to see this as well, but most likely after lead scoring, because for me, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with lead scoring, right? So actually, it might even work with lead scoring. So you can either score a lead or you can just tag them as something. And tagging is great. I just want to see how we could then utilize it later, right? So you probably want to use the tagging when you're broadcasting, and you can say, or you can, you know, move people around based on tags as well. So it just adds another dimension to the list along with, I mean, all you're doing is you're converting the behavior into tangible, I would say, recognizable items. So yeah, I'll talk to Steven about that. It's a good idea. I mean, I know other apps do that as well. For me, that goes with hand in hand with lead scoring, and we'll see how we can do that. Because I want to, let's say, score a lead higher if they click on my links. You know, if they click on my links, they're active. That's good. If they get to 50 score, I can give them something for free. That's kind of how I want to do it. Yeah. Perfect. I mean, you can kind of already do some segmentation, but as you can imagine, oh, actually, I didn't show you the segmentation part. I'll go and do that. But, you know, you can do some segmentation, but the thing about segmentation is that it's really very, very static in many ways, as I'll show you in a second. It's quite static. All right. So the segmentation thing kind of takes some time to load up. That's because all the lists, everything is being generated dynamically. Okay. All right. So in this case, I'll go for, let's say, okay. So Giselle, I'll use your case. Let's say I go for all subscribers. I'll say email clicks specific. I'll just call it this. So I could say, okay, those that clicked on this email plus those that clicked on this email. I could say or instead of and, right? And will have a smaller subset. So I want to use Paint. I want to use my amazing Paint skill. So I'm going to open that up. So if you know Venn diagrams work like this. There's one set of people who perhaps opened an email and one that didn't. So you can say, let's say these ones opened and these ones opened one email and these ones opened second email, right? So if you choose and, if you basically say that I want to choose and, which means that they open this email and they open this email, the subset is really just this, right? If you want to say or, so they open this email or they open this email, includes everything. So those are the two kind of subsets that I'm using in this case. So let's see how big this list turns out to be. Again, it runs through the whole thing and it just calculates all the permutations behind the scenes, and it's even calculating these, updating these dynamically. So let's see what that brings up. Okay, so it brings 27 subscribers who clicked on at least one of those emails, right? I can edit them or I can just delete them. In this case, I can even click on this and I can view all the subscribers who did that, which is pretty good. I mean, if you want detailed information, this gives you that. All right. Cool. Any questions? Let me know. Anything else I can answer for you today? This is basically all I have to show for the email marketing module of Kyvio. which once the new UI is ready, is going to be much more sleeker, much kind of easier to use. And absolutely, I think at the end of second quarter, we'll start building out new features into this as well, especially lead scoring. Okay, if there are no other questions, then perhaps we can end the call right now. If there's anything else you would like to know, just get in touch with me. And you always have the group, and we can cover other things there as well. And this replay will be up in about 24 hours, hopefully sooner actually. I'll be up a bit late today. All right, have a good rest of the day. Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon. Bye.